Hi, I'm Nicole Roberts-Jones, and welcome to The Fierce Files. Now, what I know for sure is that one of life's greatest gifts will meet you when you go after your more. And so here is why I share with you thought-provoking insight and behind-the-curtain conversations with women who have reached the pinnacle of success because they went after their more. Now, I really want you to get this. One idea from these episodes can make a remarkable difference, not just in your career, but in your life. And I want to make sure you join the conversation in our Facebook group. So go to findyourfiercemovement.com. Now grab your pen and get ready for today's session of The Fierce Files. We are replaying some of our favorite episodes from season 1. So take a listen to this episode and then mark your calendars to join us for season 2 on January 9th. Hello, and welcome to this episode of The Fierce Files. So today I'm excited to introduce to you Miss Tiffany R. Warren. So Tiffany is the Senior Vice President and Chief Diversity Officer of Omnicom Group. Now, she's also recognized as a leader in the field of diversity. Tiffany is a talent strategist with 20 plus years of championing, I can't even say that word, diverse professionals in the advertising industry. And in addition to that, in 2005, she founded AdColor. Now, as the president and founder of AdColor, she is deeply involved in the direction the industry is taking around diversity. So in addition to that, in addition to Omnicom and AdColor, she serves on several boards. She's been honored with numerous awards. She's a member of the 4A's Diversity Committee and chairs the AAF Mosaic Center Executive Council. So tell me this isn't a woman that keeps going after her more. So Miss Tiffany, welcome.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be on your podcast today.
Yay. So tell us, just reading through your bio, right? And I was telling Tiffany, oh my God, it was so much yumminess. I didn't know what to cut. So I wouldn't be on here for 2 minutes reading your bio, which is not a bad thing. That's a great thing because you've done so much. So each thing you've done hasn't obviously been enough for you. So tell us a little bit about, just your trajectory and why, you could have been just happy with being an Omnicom, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, Omnicom has served as this incredible platform, for my passion. Mm-hmm. And I think a long time ago, I've been doing diversity specifically for 20 years, but I came into the industry, advertising in particular, wanting to be and reach the highest level that I could in account management, client service. Mm-hmm. I was set up for success through the Inroads program. And from there, that's really what my trajectory was. I didn't think about this nagging voice that was in the back of my head that said, your passion may be not directly tied to marketing, but if I looked at all the things that I did throughout college, throughout high school, I'm even going back to like Head Start, no joke.
Right.
My calling was always there in place and I was doing it and it's where I was happiest, but I didn't connect my calling to a career until about 1999. But I had always been interested in wanting to build communities, support people, and be the voice for the voiceless.
So tell us, and I love that, be the voice for the voices. And listen, reading her bio, just think of every community that has had a moment where someone tried to take their voice. I'm talking about people of color. I'm talking about the LBG, and it's now something else, Q, but they've added another letter, and I can't never remember the extra letter that is now in it, and I don't want to be politically incorrect, right? A, right? So just listening to, knowing the work that you do and hearing you say that in 1999, you connected. Tell us about that moment for you.
It was really impactful. I think I got first connected to advertising in college when someone came into one of my classes, and after I had changed my major like 5 times, I was really lost a little bit.
Right.
Everyone kind of has that story. You go in college with what you think or what people tell you should be. Mm-hmm. And then you discover along the way in many different ways that maybe that's not where your path is. And so I was very interested in coding, which I'm mad at myself now. Maybe I should have stuck with that. But very interested in early coding, like computer information systems. And then I ended up leaving college with a degree in liberal arts and a concentration in communications. Mm-hmm. And I met someone who I immediately asked to be my mentor, Elizabeth Tallerman, and she led me on this journey that brought me into the advertising industry. And I received an award in 97. I was chosen as 25 most promising people of color in advertising. It was the first award. I've gotten awards for spelling, and like, in camp, I learned how to boat, boating.
Right.
This is like a serious award where they wrote it up in the paper. And I went into this room in Chicago, one of the first few times I've been on a plane, where I go into this room full of people who created campaigns that changed my life, that made me go and buy products. I was standing next to them, and some of them were people of color. And I was just blown away. But I was also sad at the fact, which is often what happens when you're in programs like Inroads or, those diversity programs in high school, where you're like, why is there a need for this? You're ultimately grateful, but then you're like, you feel a little bit like put on this island where you're expected to be excellent. You're expected to be this beacon, this shining light, but you can't have thoughts and you don't feel like you can fail. So all of these things were in my head because I was like, am I going to have a life? Will I be able to build a life working on diversity and inclusion? Because I had no role models. But my heart was like, and this is how God works. So I was just sort of at an account executive, working at Arnold Worldwide in Boston. I'm a proud Bostonian, born and raised in Roxbury. Windsor School grad, went to Bentley U University. So just truly proud, more so now that we're world champions, but that's another podcast.
And by the way, I don't know anybody that's from Massachusetts. I live in Massachusetts, by the way, sidebar, but I don't know anybody that's from here that's not proud to be from Boston, girl.
Oh, there are challenges.
Right.
In Boston and being an ambassador for Boston outside of Boston, because certainly our perception in the world is a little bit shaky. Yeah. But all that to say, like, I was working at Arnold and I was perfectly happy staying in account management. And I met someone who changed my life and said, brought me in and said, what do you want to do? And I was like, I want to help people. I want to travel. I just put in everything. It was like a gumbo. I put everything in that. I was like, I want to, live in Brooklyn. I mean, it was literally, I said everything I wanted. She goes, okay, well, my old job is open. You should interview for it. I think you'd be great. And so I interviewed for it. And on my 25th birthday, I received the job as head of diversity for the advertising industry at the tender age of 25.
Wait, but I have to stop you, Tiffany, because you're saying all this yummy stuff. And when I say yummy, I mean, these are big, bold moves you're making. And then when you say 25. So thinking about just what made you so fearless, or even I'm just thinking who I was at 25. There's no way if someone would ask me to lead a whole team at a prosperous organization that I wouldn't have been shaking in my boots. Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't I can tell you this, and I'm not saying this because certainly inspiration has become its own industry lately, but I don't say this lightly. I literally have never been shaken with any opportunity I've given.
Wow. We're taking a quick commercial break so I can share an important message just for you. Now, at the end of every year, I sit in quiet reflection. I sit and pray and ask God, what is our theme, our focus for the next year? And so this time last year, the word that came to me for 2018 was elevate. And I've seen elevation happen not just for us here in Fierce Factor Lab. I've seen it happen in the lives of so many of the women that we get to work with. People like Janice Love. See, when Janice came to us in the last year, she had maybe 10 ideal clients as members of her tribe. Well, within 1 year, she has elevated that to 300%. And then there's Stephanie Michelle. See, when Stephanie and I first started working together in the last year, she had less than $2,000 in her business bank account. Well, within a year, her income in her business has grown over 500%. And I'm excited because they've gotten a visibility plan and a revenue strategy, and they're both showing up differently, and they've fully stepped into their fears. And of course, these are just two examples of clients that I've had the pleasure of working with and witnessing their elevation. I can go on, but I have to tell you that I am beyond excited, not just about this, but because God whispered in my ear early about our focus for next year. He gave me a mission, our mission for 2019. And you want to know what it is? See, the word God gave me for 2019 is multiply. Now listen, we are in the last few weeks of 2018, and I know you've been thinking a lot about next year. So can I encourage you? See, next year is your year to start to multiply, to generate multiple streams of revenue from your brilliance and give the world more of you. Now the question is, are you ready to make this happen? Because if you're already successful and yet you're letting fear, uncertainty, or overwhelm pull you back, let me tell you that is so 2018. See, what that means is you're teetering right on the edge of your next level. So you're on the edge of fully coming into your calling, your gift, and your greatness. And what I know for sure is that it's time for you to lean all the way in. See, either way, I'm going to push you right on over to the abundance that is waiting for you, because I know the greatness that exists on the other side, and I call it Multiply 2019. So I want to invite you to join me for my no-cost online training. Go to letsmultiply2019.com. So I'm inviting you to join me because I'm going to walk you through the 3 steps you need to implement now, only if you want 2019 to be bigger, bolder, and better than you even thought was possible. Join me so you can learn how you can and will multiply in 2019. Again, that's letsmultiply2019.com. And I'll see you there.
I've had moments of like, is it too big for me? God, what are you doing? But I've never been shaken. Like it's never been, it's like, step into it. So at I wasn't even 25 when I interviewed. I got the job on my 25th birthday. It happened to be also the birthday of my guardian angel, my grandfather, my father's, my mother's father. So anytime something has happened on 8/17, I took it as a sign to leap and that this was destined. But not only did I get the job, but I also got an apartment in Fort Greene in Brooklyn. So I got my apartment and I got the job on the same day.
Wow.
And I gave my notice, and a month later I moved. And then I had a month before I started the job to really process that I had just picked myself up from Boston, all that I've known, friends that I've known for 20 years, that we had this routine, we had this life, we were going to, get married and grow and raise our kids together. And I put all that aside for what I knew was my destiny. And so 25 years old, running this diversity program for the advertising industry, because everything I said to, Rhonda in that meeting came true. I wanted to make an impact. I wanted to help increase diversity for the advertising industry. I wanted to travel, and I wanted to help young people. I got all of that in one job.
And it's like, how did you even know? Like at 25, I keep thinking about, and mind you guys, even though this is not about me, I get it. But I'm just thinking about even the 25-year-old today, the microwave generation is what I call them, because they want it all quick, fast, in a hurry.
Yeah.
And it's like, how at 25 were you like an old soul? I'm like, God, it's amazing. How did you?
Well, what's interesting, I'm the oldest of 10. I have 8 brothers and 1 sister. And I grew up with 3 of my siblings and discovered the rest of them when I was about 26, a little bit after I got this role. But I will say this, that I've always had this inkling that if no one's going to do it, I'm going to do it. So when I'm steeped in that kind of focus, opportunities, whether they're big or small, do not jade me. But I will say that at my 25th birthday party, which was, previous to when I interviewed, I had it a little bit earlier than my actual birthday. I told my friends at this birthday party, I was like, I don't think I'm going to be here in September. Now they're thinking I'm announcing like I'm sick or something. So everyone's like, oh, like, Tiffany, are you okay? And I'm like, guys, calm down.
Right.
I don't see myself in Boston in September. And it was like I had a That's So Raven moment. I literally saw myself in New York. I could not see past September in Boston, Massachusetts. Like I didn't plan for stepping out. Like I didn't make any plans. Stepping out's like the big thing. Right. I didn't make any plans. I was like, I'm not going to be here. So why am I even going to make plans?
Wow.
And my friends were like, Tiff, but how did you? I was like, guys, I wish I could go back and look at myself, being there and having all this intention and intuition. But I really do believe now that I have hindsight that, there's a higher power that places these intentions in your brain. They nag at you, they pick at you, and you ignore it because you have bills to pay or just life happens. You're like, I can't do that. That dream's too big. He wasn't even giving me my biggest dream. New York was just a stepping stone. He wasn't even, he was setting me up for like the biggest dream ever. Moving there at 25 was just table stakes. It was like, let's just get this girl to New York so we can get her on the path to what she has to do.
Right. And even thinking about it's so funny as we're interviewing her and she's in New York, I can hear the cars in the background honking. It's such a New York thing in the background. But here's the thing, even thinking about it, when we get to a seasoned stage, I'm saying seasoned because I'm not old, right? When we get to a seasoned stage of life, right? It's almost like we get these opportunities, but because we've been through so many things, it's harder for us to say yes to them. But I think because at 25, although, you had obviously been through some things because you've been to college, you've gone through inroads, but I think because you were saying yes at such an early stage, it propelled you to continue to say yes.
Yeah. I've said no to a few things, and mainly because, you know, one of my compasses in life is authenticity. I can smell BS.
I know that's right.
So there's opportunities that I've been given that seem really big, and to others they would say yes to, but I didn't feel like it was right for me. Mm-hmm. And I've had to walk away from it, and, you know, not feeling bad about it at all, because I'm steeped in my personal intention to always be authentic. You know, I remember being on a panel and they were like, you know, they went down the line and they were like, what are you reading? And everyone's like, Harvard Business Review and blah, blah, blah. And this is like, oh my God, like almost 8 years ago now. Mm-hmm. And I was like, girl, I look at TMZ.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and I look at my Facebook timeline, which is like my USA Today, and the whole audience went crazy. And I've always been rewarded for my authenticity. You know? I wasn't trying to make the other panelists look bad. I just was being honest. Like, I didn't want to make up some reading list that just wasn't me.
Right.
I mean, I can totally read Harvard Business Review, and I can absolutely go deep into, you know, Amazon and find great titles. And I'm moving more towards doing that now as I get older. But at the time, I wanted to find out, you know, it was this drive to find out what was the newest thing going on. And that's where I got the information from. You know, if you sifted through all the craziness, you got some interesting tidbits. So
right. And it keeps you cutting edge because you know what's happening, and you know, as a marketing or advertising professional, that really does keep you cutting edge.
Yeah, so, just in general. So people, then after that, everyone exhaled and they actually got honest with what they actually look at. And I was just like, guys, you know, let's just make a rule that for the rest of this panel, we just keep it real, you know, keeping it real university, like let's keep it authentic.
Right.
And so it ended up being a really great conversation because I brought authenticity into the room where it wasn't for a while.
And that seems to me to be like your biggest, I don't want to say badge of honor, but, you know, what I've learned, and even when I worked in the entertainment industry, the reason I kept getting jobs is because I was authentic. I didn't care who you were. You ate breakfast just like I did, you know, so I never treated anybody any different. And it sounds to me that, you know, your authenticity has really been a light on your path, right? So where have you had to say yes to some things and no to some things? I mean, I know you've had to let go of some positions, but, you know, in order to move to your next level, really wanting to be authentically Tiffany.
Yeah,
what is that? Go ahead. Sorry.
No, not at all. And I apologize. But I've said no to positions that would have been just blockbuster in terms of visibility, platform, and notice. But the way that they conversated with me and the way that they spoke to me in the beginning stages of conversations, let me know all I need to know about the company culture and who they are. And I immediately, you know, shut it down, and I wasn't interested. And other people took the opportunity and have gone on to do great things with those opportunities. But I know what I know. And so if, you know, when you're sort of interviewing and you're trying to figure out what your need is, particularly when you are a senior person, I've started an organization. You know, I have a lot of credits that some people don't have, but generally the one thing that's important to me is autonomy and the ability to keep doing my passion beyond my day job, which is ad color. And so, you know, for me, when I came to Omnicom, I made it real clear when I was searching for the next opportunity after Arnold that I'm not moving. I'd rather stay here and grow ad color slowly while growing my diversity and strategic and management career than, you know, go somewhere and have this dream of mine die on the vine because I didn't make it clear from the beginning that these two things run concurrently and I need to do both at the same time.
And how do you get, you know, you have such clarity and I love it. And, you know, as you know, I coach women for a living. And so I've talked to so many women and your clarity is remarkable. So I just want to stop and just honor you for that. Because in a world where people would tell you that you're supposed to be something else, I love that you are authentically you and you are willing to do what's right for you, regardless of what it looks like, regardless of not knowing what's going to be on the other side because you've turned down that opportunity. And so for you, you know, it's like, how do you stay connected to that? Do you have?
It's easy. I mean, I've accepted the fact that leadership and purpose are lonely islands. And I've said this, and I actually had this aha moment a couple of times, and I've seen it play out in different sort of moments. Just recently, I saw the movie Bohemian Rhapsody last night, the premiere.
Oh, I can't wait to see it. Ooh, don't say a word about it, girl.
You're going to die. And Freddie Mercury is someone who I didn't know much about, but what I was just blown away by and actually got very tearful is absolute like desire and clarity to get his voice out in the world just the way it was. And so for me, but he was terribly lonely. And as leaders, you recognize that loneliness, because when you have purpose and you have vision and you're a leader, there are people that will go with you, and they know that there's ups and downs and there's valleys and there's trauma and there's breakthroughs and all these things that are wrapped up in being a leader, and they're willing to, be there for all of it. And then there's those that are just there for you for the breakthroughs, right. And they're ready at the other side and be like, girl, we've been with you the whole long, but really they're waiting for you when you come out of that valley. But I wrote a note to someone when I recently completed the Ad Color Awards. We hosted 1,200 people, 1,200 souls traveled to LA.
Yes. I saw that. Yes.
Yeah, to be fed. And it was like, and that's what I kept thinking in my mind, to be fed. And there's different ways we're doing it. And I just got real quiet, and I wrote a note to one of my board members, and I said, leadership and purpose are lonely islands. And I thank you for being a beacon for me, because I get emotional. I'm okay with being on that island because I know that I'm activating someone else's dream and I'm supporting them, and, I'm part of their foundation. I'm okay. And I think, you make that compromise when you're a leader. So many people have made that compromise. And I'm not anywhere comparing myself, but I just recognize this kind of DNA. People like Martin Luther King, and people who are flawed, but yet their purpose put them in a position to help humankind.
Yes.
My humankind is people who work in advertising and the creative industries. So I'm willing to sort of sacrifice and have moments of sometimes pain and loneliness and missed opportunities and friends that are in your life for a reason and a season and all these things you hear about.
Right.
Because the ultimate goal is that I'm supporting and creating a foundation for people to have a better life and a better career in this business that I love.
I love it. I'm eating it up. And I love even that what you started to say. And when you think about anybody that's done anything great, Dr. Martin Luther King, who was 24 when he started the civil rights movement, 24, right? You'd think he wasn't scared. And I'm saying this as much to you as I am to the listeners. And people don't even stop to think about 24. He had just gotten married, just got his first church. I think Coretta was either pregnant or just had the first baby. And somebody says, well, we need you to come to this boycott meeting. And then he goes to the meeting. He's not anticipating being the leader. And then all of a sudden he gets appointed. It's like, what?
Yeah. 24 and 25, like between 24 and 7, if you look at entertainment, a lot of stars burn out or, unfortunately pass away at 27, but it's creative excellence that occurs with them between like 23 and 27.
Wow.
I don't know if it's a thing, if people studied it, but there's this moment in that part of your life where there's an invincibility that sets in. There is an naivete. There is an unwillingness to understand the risks. And so you go for it anyway.
Yes.
And so many great things have come from that. But then the flip side is, some people burn out earlier than they should. I always had and I just said this in another conversation, I've been surrounded by a tremendous support system. My friends are first generation college attendees. We all got opportunities to attend Catholic and private school within Boston. I tested in and spent 7 years of my life at Windsor.
Wow.
The Windsor School, which coincidentally is right across the street from where I was born, Beth Israel Hospital. So at some point when my sister was born, I'm looking out the window when she was born at the school that I would attend someday. I mean, there's so many coincidences. I can never say that word. Like, you can't say a word, I can't say a word.
Right.
Why can't I say coincidences? There we go.
Right.
We all have that one word.
Okay.
In our life, there's too many of those in, my life, but I say all that to say that, I'm just super, grateful for the support system that have gone on to be, the Chief Economic Development Officer of Boston. My friend just stepped down as a senator and now is in diversity and inclusion. I have a mergers and acquisition lawyer, and I'm not bragging, but I kind of we've come from this place of we didn't have anything. We just had each other, and we had this knowledge that there was a greater world outside of Boston. And even if the world was Boston, we want to make Boston better.
Right.
And so, that's why I think for me, I generally felt like I could take on the world, because I had friends since the age of 13 who were literally taking on issues in Boston to make it better from the age of 13 to 17.
And it's almost like you guys were taking it on together. You each have your own separate platform, but you have that support. It's almost like you guys are on the same team. And so, you know, when it's a timeout, you can come in, you can talk about your plays, and then you can go back out there and play, you know, and win. And I also interrupted you because you said something so yummy that I was just speechless for a minute. Between the age of 24 to 27, and I want every one of you that is listening to me, this message is for you. Because I remember at 23 is when I started doing this work. And so I just had an aha moment in the middle of you sharing that. Yeah. And I want every one of you guys to think about your 24, your 25, your 26-year-old self, because I truly believe in that moment, all of us have an inkling of who we're supposed to be.
Oh, yeah, you totally do. Mm-hmm. I have a poster in my office. I have big old curly 70s hair with messed up eyebrows because my mom didn't feel like brushing them.
Right.
I had the thickest eyebrows ever. I had my little gap, you know, that I didn't fix until I could afford braces. Mm-hmm. But I think that little girl is so beautiful. I get to look at her every day from my desk. And she reminds me, you know, of who I am and who I was, which is this bright-eyed, you know, a little girl who was just who understood her place in the world very early. Right. And it's this banner that I received from an award I got from the Boys and Girls Club because I was a member of Daniel Marr Boys and Girls Club in Dorchester. And they had two banners. They had a banner of me today, which they said Chief Diversity Officer Omnicom Group, excuse me. And then they had a banner of me, and that's a picture of me at the age of 3, which is the same age as my beloved niece right now. And it said Aspiring Diversity Manager. And because that was based on a comment in my progress report from Head Start, St. James Head Start in Boston, which said Tiffany likes the quiet ones. So at 2.5, 3 years old, when new kids came in because they brought new kids in, not all the time, but generally to build the class over the year. Right. But they, like between September and October is when I got this report. But apparently I loved taking the new kids and like just being their friend. Right. And I loved hearing the same story over and over again. So there's no mistake that I'm a storyteller because I was like, tell it again, you know. And I can imagine like 2.5, 3-year-old Tiff like, say it again. I want that story. Already bossing up Head Start. Right. I go back and look at those progress reports because it did tell me like, oh, Tiff knows circles and triangles and, you know, squares. But it also gave me this progress report about this little human I was coming to be. And I keep going back to that progress report as like every 5 years. Sometimes I'll look at it a couple times a month because I just need to be reminded of like, you know, who I was. So I do think that these things are placed in you very young. And what my mom did, which is she does so beautifully, and she's my very best friend in the world, is she literally got out of my way. She was like, I know the kind of child I have, and it's going to be quite a ride. Right. But let's go. So dance class for 2 days.
And Tiffany, I love that. And I'm only interrupting you because I know you have a meeting after. And here's the thing I want you guys to get in her beautiful story. And thank you for being so transparent, which is who you are, right? Thanks for being so transparent and real. And I want every one of you that hear my voice to think about this. Who were you at 24, 25, 26? Who were you and how have you denied her? Some of you are standing in the full power of her, but as your sister in the journey, I am here. And whether you realize it or not, Tiffany has challenged you today to think about who you were then and how you have allowed other people or other things to hinder you from who you were born to be. So with all of that, Tiffany, because you've given us so much, and we can go on for the next 2 hours because I can tell you going in, girl. Can you if you had to give women 3 things they have to do to stand in their transparency, to be who they were born to be unapologetically, just quickly, before you have to run to your meeting?
It's a couple things. A couple things. And, I have a little, like maybe 10 more minutes. But
okay, good.
But a couple things. Like one thing that I just got, and I love picking up things from crazy places, but I want to be, one of my goals, which is weird, is I look at like Quincy Jones's life. Like I just saw his documentary.
Yeah, me too. It was good, right?
Okay. Like 2,900 songs and all these different genres, and his career and his life is limitless, and he's had the lowest of the lows, right? Yet he's produced these, oh my God, pieces of art that have, I just can't even talk about it without getting full. But one of the things he said in the documentary, which was a gut check for me, was, ego is just overdressed insecurity. And particularly when you're given access and you move up to the upper echelons and you're given perks and people move out of your way and all these things that happen because you've been assigned some title, which becomes very weird if you've come up in a place of adversity and you didn't have a lot.
Right.
You're always grappling with, why are you treating me like that? But then I was like, oh, did I earn it? But ego is overdressed insecurity. And like as leaders, particularly women, when we're in this social media realm and we like to, produce the highlight reel. Check the ego. Check the ego. Humility is one of the things that I prize the most. I work on all the time. I'm not 100% that great at it because, I get pulled into moments where I have to exercise my intelligence and my knowledge. And I have to think, am I being humble in this moment? Or when I'm given opportunities to meet my heroes and I have to, pull the humility flag down a little bit because I'm just like, what is my life? The other piece too is don't be afraid. One of my mentoring styles, and I have 120 mentees, like a lot. And one of my mentoring styles is like, I push you off the cliff. I don't care if your wings are wet. They'll dry on the way down. And
that's been the story of your life because you have jumped off the cliff, girl, several times.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean, literally my wings were like, I had nothing. And I remember standing up in front of a group of interns from the MATE program, which is part of the diversity, my first big job in New York. I was 25. They were like 22.
Wow.
And I was their leader. And I'm like, and I said, we could go about this two ways. I can pretend and put on this coat of gravitas and this coat of maturity, or I can just let them see me grow into the leader I'm supposed to be. And I'll make mistakes and I'll fail. And sometimes I'll act like your big sisters. And sometimes I got to pull your coat. But I did all that because I go back to the first thing I said in the beginning, which is authenticity is literally my compass.
Right.
And if I am not in that zone of authenticity, it's literally painful for me. So I think authenticity is another really great compass for leadership. So it's checking your ego and understanding that there's some insecurity there. And then your authenticity, and then take chances, but do it in a way that feels specific to you. Don't jump off of somebody else's cliff. Like look at what your goals are and what you want to do, because there's a movement and sometimes there's a feeling of comparison. And one story I tell is that when I got out of college, one of my very best friends got a big job with P&G, and I started at an advertising agency. I made $22,000. She made $60,000. She never judged me. We were roommates. She gave me the bigger room because she had the office. And, my rent was like 1/3 of what the total rent was. And every time I see her, I can't stop thanking her enough. And she's like, Tiff, it's been like, oh my God, like 30, like a long time. And I'm like, but that move and that what you did for me made way for my life. Because what if I didn't find a roommate like you and I had to end up somewhere else? And, you look at all the things and the gifts that your angels have given you along the way. Right. So recognize when a gift is being given to you and take it, and don't feel ashamed and don't feel judged, because everyone needs help at some point, even at this level.
Right.
I mean, I need bigger help and different kind of help, but I still need help.
Ooh, well, Tiffany, you have been such a help. And I know this conversation has been I know it's been impactful and a blessing to so many women that have come and listened today. So thank you so much for being transparent and for really sharing your story with us.
I'm happy to. And I have to just say, I met you, I think we were at National Urban League on a panel, and, you were just such a bright light. And I think that when we were in the elevator and we were getting ready to go, we were like pumping ourselves up. And, it was my first panel of that magnitude at the National Urban League. Because, I've done advertising panels and like in my industry. Right. I was so nervous. And you guys had such poise. And I was just like, there is still stuff I have to learn. And I just watched you guys and I picked up a few things that day. So thank you for, being a bright light for so many people.
I appreciate you.
On the podcast.
I appreciate you. Look, I'm in the podcast, and then we're going to have a sister friend good chat real quick. So thank you. I appreciate you. I honor you, girl.
Thank you so much, sweetie. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of The Fierce Files. Now, I want you to walk away from these episodes with value, so grab your pen and answer either one or all three of these questions. Number one, what was your greatest takeaway? Number two, what will you do differently as a result of what you heard? So you may have heard something you've already heard before, or you may have learned something new. Either way, don't take the insight that was shared with you for granted. So commit to doing one thing different because of what you heard. Number three, what was confirmation for you? What did you hear that confirmed you're on the right path? See, I want you to take a moment and celebrate you. Too often in our journey, we focus on what we're not doing and we forget to celebrate what we are doing. So what was something that showed you that you're headed in the right direction? Now, I want you to share your answers. Share your answer to either number one, what was your greatest takeaway? Number two, what would you do different? Or number three, what was confirmation for you? And share it in our Facebook community. So go to findyourfiercemovement.com and use the hashtag FierceFiles. Now, each experience we encourage, support, and celebrate as a community. It allows us to expand in possibility and wisdom, in encouragement and love. Now, we've invited you into our community to deepen our journey with being the answer someone needs and in being committed to your next level. So until the next time, be extraordinary, be unapologetic, be bodaciously you, go and be fierce.